Welcome to the place where we learn about and learn from the leaders in our field who are powering creativity. I'm Aaron Dworkin, and this is Arts Engines. Thanks again for joining me here on Arts Engines. Today's guest is Charlie Ortiz, who serves as the executive director of the WHIN Music Community Charter School. Charlie, welcome to the show.
Aaron, it's a pleasure to be here.
So I am so excited to talk with you today, and I am so glad you are taking the time to talk with us because you have been developing new facilities. $44 million new home for WHIN, which of course I would love, love, love to talk about. And WHIN obviously just does such extraordinary work, has been a wonderful creative partner for Arts Engines. So I thought it would just kind of start right there with just kind of if you could kind of share what initiated the need, desire, and vision for this new home.
Yeah, of course. And again, thank you for having me on the show. All of us are a big fan, so it's a delight to be here with you again. So WIN is going in, or I think we're in our eighth or ninth year of operations. And being a public charter school in New York City with a music focus based off of El Sistema, we knew that our facility demands would be more than the average school. And in New York City, it's not uncommon for anyone to struggle with real estate, but also specifically like schools that require a large footprint. So literally the day that we were chartered, back in I think June of 2016, if I recall correctly, we started planning this building. Literally, it was one of the first things because we knew space was going to be hard. And so the original vision was to create a physical building or a nucleo for the folks who are familiar with El Sistema that really was a hub for the community that put music front and center as the heart of our program and ultimately shared that with the community around us. And so through that, we ultimately have been working with hundreds upon hundreds of people to build the building that I'm currently standing in, and that on Monday will be holding 500 some children. And
Wow.
so, yeah, I'll pause there.
Yes, no, absolutely. No, it is truly extraordinary. And as you were thinking about that, and there's many people watch the show who either have been or are involved in different building projects or just thinking about facilities and the needs that they have. And so you kind of shared that. Are there any kind of like key aspects from the facility that you are like, this is what it's going to transform our students' lives?
So yes, the theater that I'm standing in right now, and I'll move out of the way. It's kind of, I don't want to move the camera around, but it's ultimately designed for as many of our children as possible to be performing on the stage at one time. So there really can be around, I think, like 200 or some students performing at one time. And ultimately, the idea there is that as a music school, our concerts not only have become somewhat legendary, but they really are the that thing that we do so uniquely and I think really shows the world who and what we are. And we do them frequently.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and it seems like there's kind of this impact that the students have. And I was wondering just for anyone in our audience who may not be as familiar with the El Sistema kind of themes and kind of connectiveness, is there any kind of that ethos that you could describe that kind of where you're able to take what otherwise is a teaching ethos or an ethos about the integration of music and the arts and but actually integrate it into facility design.
So I think for that, our music department ultimately probably highlights that the most. So every child at WIN plays an orchestral instrument in first grade and above. So our kindergartners have pre-orchestra, but starting in first grade, everyone either plays violin, viola, cello, or percussion. And once we're in the new building, woodwinds and brass. And so Our music wing is, I guess, lined in the hallways with custom built cubbies for every child's individual instrument. It's actually the same wood that you see over here, which is a part of the acoustic paneling in the theater. And it's designed literally by our architecture team that came into our other building and measured all of the different sizes of violin cases, all of the different sizes of cello cases, and figured out how to program it so that as a child comes in the morning for arrival, they drop off their instrument in the music wing, which is on the second floor, and then they go up to their classroom. Um, Now, when they get down, before they get down to their orchestra classroom, the instruments are tuned and taken care of, and to make sure that once they're in music class, they pick up their instrument, go straight on into the classroom, and they're making great music together and maximizing time on task.
Wow, it's just incredible. And so that level of detail that has to be applied, I think has to be just really, really profound. And so now with these new facilities, I'm wondering is as you think about them, there's obviously the direct impact for your students directly. Do you see any enhancement or evolution as it relates to your relationship with the community as a whole?
So 100%. To some degree, this building already has become a symbol. Um, it stands out, and literally, there's not a person that walks by that doesn't stop to inquire or to look inside, and so it's already having a pretty big impact. Um, as a nucleo, as an El Sistema Nucleo, we want to open this up to the community. We want community partners to use the theater, to use, our gymnasium, to use spaces to really build up the whole community, and to help us do that. And so we really have always envisioned this as a community-based center. And I think that in the years ahead, once we get settled, or in the weeks and months ahead, when we get settled, we're going to start building those kind of collaborations and or extensions out pretty rapidly.
Absolutely awesome. So as you're kind of doing this and you kind of are, thinking about the impact that the facilities are going to bring, the for those who kind of look and say, we need the same, right? We need to somehow add something relating to our facilities to help impact our impact on students or on our mission, et cetera. Going about that, was there kind of a core argument that you were able to articulate to build the resources available to create these facilities? How did you tie in your vision, but with the donors and or resources that you needed to actually be able to make the facilities a reality?
I mean, I wish I could take credit for that. The thing that I think really moved the needle with that is our students and staff and our families, right? I mean, for all of the people that, so this will be our third building, our third and final building. Um, and for all of the folks that came through and saw what we were doing in our previous locations, which let's just say are less ideal, uh, everyone kind of left with the same impression, like, wow, like what you're doing is different. Like this is another level. And we have seen so much graciousness and kindness and support, and trust and care and camaraderie, um, from so many people. Um, and so I think that the way that we really cultivated what it took to make it happen, and I mean, we're talking like thousands upon thousands of people, is really being open and transparent with who and what we are, and showing that, a really rigorous, intensive music program um, can really change people's lives. And that I think when people see it and feel it and hear it, they constantly just want to opt into it.
Wow. Well, it truly is amazing, an amazing accomplishment, Charlie. So unfortunately we are just about out of time, but I always like to ask, I guess, these types of questions right at the end, and this to me it seems is so pivotal, and especially anyone who's been involved in a building project or facilities knows they always are way more complicated and way more tasking than one would think. When you face those days where it seems like there's an obstacle you can't overcome or just things are overwhelming, as a leader, what do you do? Do you have a mechanism? Do you have a best approach? What gets you through that you're able to share with all of those in our audience who might, often feel those types of experiences?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. I knew it was coming, and I've been thinking about it. There's a part of it where I think the people around me, so like, and I feel like I said a similar thing maybe in one of our previous conversations. Um, and I think that bef before the last 6 months, where things have gotten extremely intense, I used to think about it more from a technical standpoint about like, oh, we have this problem. We need to solve this problem. So like, how can all these people offer great ideas and suggestions and work to solve that problem? For the magnitude of this project, 55,000 square feet plus, $44 million, 500 children, right? Um, the magnitude of it, it's like I've come to kind of accept that um, so many of the things that we have as different roadblocks or challenges, they need time and space to be thoughtfully worked out and moved forward. And the people, which usually also do have a great deal of technical skill and ability, but just like the social emotional support of that, as in like we're gonna get through this. Like this is gonna be a thing. We're still gonna make it happen. We might have to delay the opening a little bit, but we can figure out a plan for that. And it's more of that non-technical thing that I think actually my board first and foremost has been absolutely fantastic with over this whole project. So I'm deeply grateful to them, and so many other people in my personal life that have just um, helped from a non-technical standpoint. And so right now, those are the folks that I'm really leaning on.
Charlie Ortiz, you truly are one of the arts engines who is powering human creativity in our world. Thank you so much for your leadership of WHIN, everything that you are doing for all of your students, and thanks so much for taking the time and coming on the show.
Thank you, Aaron. Always a pleasure.